Hello, and welcome to Mad Men's Knowledge, a podcast where we answer questions no one is asking and argue about things no one cares about in order to grant you insight. Insight as to what? We don't know, but here we are. We're your hosts, the Mad Men in question, Griffin and Hayne, and our topic of discussion for today is fruit. Fruits. We know them, we love them. If you hate them, you're not my friend anymore. But we all know that fruits there are some that are just better than others. So we're here
Not all fruit
today.
are created equal.
Absolutely not. We're here today to rank the top fruits in a complete fruit tier list. All right, let's get started. We will begin and we will go down the line, bringing up fruits and discussing where we think they should be slotted here.
Yes. And positions, we're going to make one combined tier list rather than two. And apologies, but this is an audio only podcast, so you're just going to have to keep track of what the fuck we just said. We'll summarize at the end where the positions are, but yeah.
Yes,
Ready to get into it?
I am prepared. All right, so
Okay.
our first one for today, a staple of fruit kind, the strawberry. Thoughts
Okay.
on the strawberry?
A tier.
A tier.
I would say that strawberry. Okay. Here's the thing: is that I would say that strawberries are probably my second favorite fruit. Um, However, they don't get to go to S tier because I'm a little bitch. I don't eat the green leaves on top, and it's just a lot of hassle to either cut all of the tops off or to delicately hold them and eat them. Uh, Maybe for somebody who's a little bit less of a bitch, it's easier.
So what I'm
But
hearing you saying is that in order to be S tier for you, a fruit has to be completely edible in its entirety.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I can rest with A tier. My criteria are probably a little bit different than yours. Obviously, precedence goes to eating the fruit, taste and convenience of eating the fruit.
Yeah.
Also, big on my list is smoothie or other like recipe making capability. Which
That's a very
strawberries,
good
they got
point.
it in spades. You got strawberry shortcake. You can make a delicious smoothie with strawberries.
See, taste is number one for me. Number two is the ease of consumption. And number three is arbitrary. I don't like smoothies.
Ah, yes. So strawberry, sitting pretty at A tier, a solid beginning. Um, Next up, blackberries.
I put that at a C tier personally.
I think I agree. I really do not like the way that blackberries are, like that you have to eat like the stem
Yeah,
with it.
exactly. I That's my problem with it is that like blackberries taste fine, but like they're so much harder to eat because and like they're so much more not harder, but they're not as pleasant for me to eat because you have that stem and those hard seeds in it. Whereas like raspberry, the blackberry's cousin, that's not how that works. I'm not a botanist. But like raspberries are significantly more appealing because they're just better texture.
I agree.
So blackberries, they taste all right, but I will never go out of my way to get blackberries, but I will eat them when they're available over some other things.
Hmm. Next up, nature's candy, the prune.
I've never had a prune actually, so I
You've
can't make
never
that
had a prune?
statement. I've never had a prune.
Okay, so this is solo for me. Prunes, um, they taste good. I'm not a huge fan of the after effects, so like I don't think I can put them.
I had to think about that for a second because I had no idea what you're talking about,
Oh
but
yeah,
I think I'm tracking. I'm tracking.
for those of you who don't know, that's a good point. Some people might not know. Prunes are used to keep you regular in your bowel movements. Um,
Which is why there's like stereotypically fed to old people.
yes, because their intestines suck. But so I don't think that I can put prunes on a tier with blackberries because blackberries are edible and like fruit, but prunes are just kind of medicine to me. It's just like here, eat this weird big raisin if you need to crap yourself. So I think for that reason,
Didn't you explain this as nature's candy?
that's just what they're called. I don't agree with it.
I see. So we're putting prunes in an E tier.
I'm putting prunes in the E tier. I just don't see them as a food, really.
Interesting. All right, I want you to give the opinion on the next fruit first, okay?
The next fruit is cantaloupe. I suspect that you, Hayne, hate cantaloupe. I can't imagine why, but I really, really like cantaloupe.
Okay, I
Um,
also really like
okay,
cantaloupe.
good.
So,
I cannot put it in the same category as strawberries, though.
okay, here's the thing. I like cantaloupe, but I don't like a lot of it, you know? And if I'm going to eat cantaloupe, it has to be by itself. So,
I agree. I can put
I would
cantaloupe in a fruit salad.
I couldn't put it in a fruit salad because then it makes everything taste like cantaloupe. But like if you gave me a cantaloupe melon, I would eat that by itself. Like I'm
Yes.
cool with that. I would put cantaloupe at like a high B, low A tier.
I agree. I'm going to put it in B because as much as I love the taste of cantaloupe, it's just not as useful as a strawberry. A strawberry is so versatile. You can put it in
Strawberries are
fruit
good.
salad. You can bake with it. Cantaloupes really all you can do with them is eat them. And by the way, for our Australian viewers, rock melon is the same thing as a cantaloupe. Just to clear that up. But yes, so we are seating cantaloupe firmly in the B tier, but only because of its limited use.
Lemons.
Lemons.
I don't eat lemons, but I do like okay. I like lemon flavored things. I do not like lemon water. That's a whole other debate, though. I'm cool with wherever you put lemons, personally.
I'm gonna put lemons in the A tier.
All right.
I
I like lemon
really
flavored
like
things.
lemons. I like lemons an unreasonable amount.
He eats lemons like an apple.
Not like an apple.
Okay, but you eat it rind and all.
The way that I eat lemons is I slice down the grain, like so that you get these little lemon wheels, is what they're called, and then I will eat the lemon wheels with the rind on. Like I will just take a bite out of them like a cracker. I
Yep.
love lemons. I can eat them raw.
It's so disturbing to watch.
It's a little disturbing to watch, I will admit to that. But I really like lemons. I love all things sour, and lemons are up there with me because the majority of sour things are flavored like lemon.
Yeah,
Also,
I
you
love
can't
sour things.
you cannot smoothie a lemon, to my knowledge. It hasn't been done.
I mean, there's a first time for everything, man. I
But
think you just gotta let that
you
happen on your
can
own.
bake with them. The
Elon,
other thing that's
no,
really
wait.
good that you might actually enjoy is candied lemon, which is
I'm
where
sure I would.
they basically
Honestly,
do the
okay.
same thing that I do, except
Yeah,
instead of just eating them raw, they take those lemon wheels, soak them in sugar, and let them dry out and get like chewy.
interesting. Okay, I will say it was very disturbing watching you eat a lemon in front of me for the first time. However, I did try it just because I wanted to see what it was like, and it honestly wasn't that bad. I'm a huge fan of sour stuff, like to the point where I think I might have melted some of my taste buds because like there are a lot of sour candies that just are not sour at all, and it might just be because I have no taste buds.
Yeah, there's potential. All right. Moving on from lemons. Oranges.
I'm gonna say something that's probably controversial, but I would put oranges in like a low C, high D tier.
Really?
I'm not a huge fan of oranges. Like orange flavored things, cool. Like if you know the like mandarin orange cups, like I'll eat those. Those are fine. But like if you gave me an orange or nectarine, like I'm not gonna eat it because it's such a pain in the ass to like peel it, and then
Uh,
all of the like white fiber on it just sticks in my teeth, and it makes me so uncomfortable.
you said an orange or a nectarine. I suspect you mean an orange or a tangerine.
Yeah, that's what I
Because a
meant. Sorry.
nectarine is like a
Nectarine's a
peach.
different fruit. Yeah,
Yeah.
nectarines I'm not a huge fan of either, but we'll get to that later.
I'm gonna kind of put oranges and tangerines in the same category here. They are difficult to eat. But I agree. I like orange and nectarine flavored stuff. Or fuck, now you got me doing it. Orange or tangerine flavored stuff. Specifically star of the show for me is Sunny D.
Oh, bro, Sunny D fucking slaps.
In case you didn't know, Sunny D is majority tangerine juice.
I didn't know that, but that's
Um,
beautiful.
which is why it confuses people because they think it's orange juice, but it doesn't taste like orange juice. Big fan of tangerines. Again, they're kind of difficult to eat, and again, the pith, which is the white stuff, the pith just kind of gets in the way, and sometimes they're stringy, especially if they're seeded tangerines. Like those are so irritating when you gotta like just destroy the fruit to get the seeds out. So I will agree with your placement in C tier because I think they've got a
I,
similar problem to
mhm.
blackberries where they
I,
they are good but they're too difficult to eat.
I will say I'd put orange above blackberry actually because I like orange flavor more than I like blackberry flavor.
We'll
I have
note
no
that
idea what the next. Mhm.
orange is above blackberry within the C.
All right, I have no idea what the next fruit is.
This next fruit is, I said, divisive for lemons. Um, this is a durian fruit.
I've
Durian
literally never heard of this in my life.
durian fruit, I think you probably have because durian fruit is also known as stink fruit.
Nope.
Because it is illegal to carry these in any public vehicle in a great many countries.
That's actually really funny.
They smell like the stench of rotting flesh, it has been said. I have eaten durian, but I made sure not to smell it, which ruins the experience a little bit because most of taste comes from smell, or the
Yeah.
finer points of taste come from smell.
Yeah, I think it's like something like 60% or something.
Yeah. So durian is really good, but it's like the fruit itself is very pleasant. It's actually got like a really weird and interesting texture to it, but it just smells god awful. And because of that, like I don't think I can place this above E. I mean, it's impossible to get past. Like nobody eats durian regularly without just coping with the smell. I think I'm gonna go with E here.
Above prunes.
I'm gonna go above prunes because I do really like how durian tastes and its texture.
Very interesting.
Next up, dragon fruit.
F tier.
F tier. I agree. Looks super cool. Tastes awful. It's not
Terrible
useful.
to handle.
Yeah,
There's too many seeds.
there's too many seeds. It's just vile. I. It's so much
I
effort too.
One of the biggest disappointments in my life was when somebody handed me a dragon fruit and says, "Here, you can have this." And bro, it is so vibrantly colored. I was just like, "Wow, this is going to be so sweet. It's going to taste great." But then I got a bunch of like tiny splinters in my hand while I'm handling this thing, and then I cut it open. There's just a shit ton of seeds, and then it doesn't taste like anything.
It's basically
Terrible
just
experience.
chalk. Like it's awful. It's just mushy, flavorless goop.
My disappointment was immeasurable, and my day was ruined.
Yeah, so we're definitely in agreement there. Dragon fruit, friggin' awful. Next up is apple. We have several different varieties of apple on here.
That's a yellow apple.
That is a yellow apple, and the yellow apples that come to mind are golden delicious. The
I don't
golden
remember
delicious
what
is the
these
main
taste
one.
like. I don't remember what these taste like, honestly. It's been so long since I've had a yellow apple.
I will tell you what they taste like. Bad. Golden delicious are just kind of, I feel like they suffer from the same thing as the dragon fruit where they are like they look interesting and it's like, "Oh, it's different," but it's not great. It's just sort of texturally compared to other apples, it's just kind of mushy and like it's almost like biting into that green like planters foam that they use for floral arrangements.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that where like you can move you can compress it really easily, but it just sort of like flakes off. Like it's just not good.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Where are you putting this?
I think I'm going to put it in E tier below prunes. Or no, I'll put it F tier. It's still edible. I would eat a if my life depended on it, I could eat a golden delicious apple. If my life depended on it, I don't know that I could force down an entire dragon fruit.
Yes.
It's just
Inspiring.
that nasty. Like it's just like sand, wet sand.
All my homies hate dragon fruit.
The next one, we're actually just gonna hit all three apples here in a row.
Granny Smith.
Granny Smith, the green apple. I want your
I'm
thoughts.
throwing that A tier.
Good. I'm gonna go low
I'm
A tier, or I'm gonna go B
Yeah,
tier.
I would say it's A tier because I have a okay. So here's the thing. I like green apples. Like okay, in general, I have only ever had good green apples, and that's partially because they're usually more sour or tart, and I like that flavor more than like regular apples.
Hmm.
And red apples are very inconsistent with their flavor. So I would put red apples in like B tier because it's always a good fruit. Like I always like eating apples, but like a red delicious, absolute ass. Like I would put
Yes.
a red delicious in like D tier,
Yeah.
but like a honey crisp, oh that's
Honeycrisp
like an S
is
tier.
is the yes. Honeycrisp is the ideal apple.
Yeah.
Red
And
apples basically average out to B tier because
yeah,
Honeycrisp is so frickin' delicious and
red delicious is so freaking bad.
so awful. But yeah, so
It
so red apples average out to B tier. I keep them in B tier because they are very useful, like apple pie, of course.
oh yes.
Apple tartlets. There's so much you can do with apples. Can't really put them in smoothies. They're not
Apple
a
sauce is pretty
big
good
smooth.
though.
Oh, applesauce. How could I have forgotten? I love me a Granny Smith apple pie.
Oh yes.
It is just it's such a good experience because a big thing that you like that happens in cooking is that when you're learning to balance flavors, like you learn that if you've got so much like fatness and acidity in your food, or sorry, if you've got so much fat and richness in your food, like the way to get around that and to make it still taste good is to put a little bit of acid in there. And so I think that a Granny Smith apple pie is like the perfect apple pie because you've got, the buttery crust and you've got the rich like I don't even know what to call that. Apple caramel goop.
Yeah. The filling.
Yeah. And then but then when you've got the little bit of sourness to cut through that, I think it just makes it so much better.
Oh yes, and also I would like to inform the listeners that Griffin here is a classically trained French chef.
I am.
Um, which just I find hilarious. But the other thing is, okay, so like caramel apples, all right?
Ah, yes.
If you take an apple and dip it in caramel, it's a pain in the ass to eat. Like it's just a mess, and it's like when you have a thick layer of caramel over an apple, it just makes it stick to your teeth, and it's harder to bite through and get a good bite, and it's just not fun. However, I realized that the way to eat a caramel apple is not so like you use the stick to like dip it in caramel, but then you take the stick out and you like cut it up into apple slices. I don't care if you want to call that elementary. If you cut it into slices, you can get into like the inside of the fruit and then bite off from the inside out that piece and get the caramel and the apple all at once. It has a much better balance, and you're not like eating the skin of the apple with the caramel and then just having like regular apple for the rest of it. It's so good. It is the only way to eat a caramel apple, in my correct opinion.
I I I don't like caramel apples at all. Or caramel apples, excuse me. Yeah, I'm one of those people. Caramel, fantastic. Apple's fantastic. Caramel apple, awful. You put caramel and apples together, it should be amazing. And it is if you just abandon the notion that it has to look good. If
Okay.
you my process for eating caramel on apples is that I slice up an apple and then I dip the apple slices in caramel, similar to the
Mhm.
awful bags that you used to get from like McDonald's.
Oh yeah, with
Um,
that really shitty caramel.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But if you do that with high quality caramel and a good apple, it's fantastic.
I will say one other thing though is that if you take like a good Granny Smith apple, you dip it in caramel, you dip it in chocolate, and then just like I like to throw M&Ms on it, but like there's some people who do weird shit like sprinkles. Not a fan of that. But like
I can't get
that's really
behind the
good.
sprinkles.
I don't like the sprinkles. It adds unnecessary texture, and it
Yeah.
doesn't actually add to the flavor at all.
All right.
That's a whole other debate.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
So
continue on with
we've
the
made
fruit.
it through the apples section. We are on to the plum.
I don't think I've ever actually eaten a plum.
Really?
I just don't think we've ever had it in my house.
I find plums interesting. The thing that I would most compare them to is like a fig in terms of
I
like
don't know if I've eaten a fig either.
you've
I
eaten
know
a
I haven't
fig
ever eaten.
Newton though.
I've never eaten a fig Newton.
What? Okay.
I've never eaten a fig Newton because when I was a kid, I would like go to like the summer camp or like after school like stuff, and they'd have fig Newtons, and I'd look at them and like that does not look like human food, and so I'd refuse to eat them. And
Interesting.
I'd know that, and I've never been in a situation since that point in my life where I'd have access to a fig Newton.
Somebody in my dorm had a box of, they have packaged up travel size fig Newtons, but instead of
Yeah.
being fig Newtons, they are long, like double long, like they're the length of like a Kit Kat,
Mm-hmm.
and they are just there's two of them in the package, and they're that long, and I ate in one night probably 32 of those.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I am a fiend for the figs. They are. I love me a fig Newton, and fig Newton packages of fig Newtons never last long in my house, just because me and my mom both really like them. But okay, well I feel like we're rating figs now. Let's pull the fig up here. Figs. You've never had a fig. You've never even had a fig Newton. Figs
You
for
put it
me
wherever you want.
are going in the top of the C tier because they suffer from a similar conundrum as the cantaloupe where, it's outside of a fig Newton. I've never had another fig experience outside of a fig Newton that I've enjoyed. I don't particularly enjoy figs by themselves, but I'll eat them. But I just don't like them as much as cantaloupe. So like figs, by virtue of them being in fig Newtons, earn C tier for me. Otherwise, they'd be lower. But back to the problem at hand, plums. I like plums. They've got a weird texture to them where they're sort of, you know how you get blueberries and people are always complaining that like they're different types of blueberries? There
Yeah.
are the blueberries that are really like moist and squishy. Like that is the texture of a plum, basically.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like that very much.
I don't know that you would. It's kind of off-putting, but they're just very sweet and it's hard to explain. They don't really have much of a taste. Like I don't understand how people were out here eating plum pudding for extended periods of time just because
Plum pudding model.
it's literally just plum and plum doesn't have a flavor outside of just like sweet. With that being said, it's always what I've imagined. Like when I imagine fruit, like I imagine plums, which it sounds weird, but the reason I imagine plums is because it's very much that fruit experience of, it's a soft thing that you sink your teeth into and then juice comes out and it's all sweet. And that for me is like very Dr. Seuss like, where it's like
Yeah.
it's very much like the imagery of fruit for me. I like them. I will also put them in C tier, just below figs, because fig Newtons are better than plum.
All right, fair enough. Next on the list, peaches. I think
It's
That
either
looks like-
peaches or nectarines.
no, that's a nectarine. I can tell.
How? Oh
Well,
no, that is a nectarine. No, I can tell
that's
too.
definitely a nectarine. Yeah, I don't like nectarines. They are like the pear version of peaches, and we can get into that later. But I
But
do
you
not like
like
nectarines.
peaches.
I love peaches, but I
Really?
do not like nectarines. I would throw nectarines in like D tier.
What is the what's the difference for you that causes that?
Like, okay, the best way for me to describe it is it's like the difference for me. It's an analogy of sorts where it's like apples are to pears as peaches are to nectarines. Like apples and peaches are like superb, absolutely excellent fruits that I love, and pears and nectarines are just bastardizations of them that are definitively worse. So like
I don't understand that because I
Okay,
don't really agree that pears are a bastardization of apples.
my issue is nectarines. They're a lot more firm than peaches are. They're a lot less juicy, and they sort of just don't have nearly as much flavor to them. I've talked about this before with you, but I have a sort of flavor to effort eating ratio, and nectarines have too much effort to eat compared to the amount of flavor I get out of them, and so I do not like them very much.
I can see that. So I'll agree. I'll cede to you on this. I'll cede to you. I'll cede to you on this one. We'll put them in D tier. I agree. I think they're just generally less flavorful than peaches. And I agree with the comparison to pears. Just both their skin and flesh has a very similar texture to peaches. Pears. I do not agree with the comparison of peaches to apples. But I understand your reasoning here.
Well, I'm not going to say that peaches and apples are like similar or the same fruit because
But
they're
they take
very
up the
different.
same role in this analogy.
Yeah,
Okay. Next up, the banana.
I don't like bananas.
I love bananas.
I will let you put bananas where you want. I just want my opinion.
S tier. Banana.
I would put the banana personally in like a C tier because I do not like the texture, and I'm just not a huge fan of banana flavor.
Perfectly shaped for the hand. The monkeys knew what was going on, man. They're perfectly shaped for the hand. You can walk around eating a banana. You can lay it down on a table and then pick it back up and continue eating it. It's the perfect fruit, man. Not to mention all of the baking you can do with bananas. You can get banana cream pies. Banana pudding with Nilla wafers is like one of the best things I've eaten in my life. Bananas, man. They're great on their own, and they're an essential smoothie ingredient. If you make me a smoothie that doesn't contain a banana, I'll call you an idiot to your face.
I think you'll call me an idiot to my face under a lot of circumstances.
Okay, yes, but this one is the most important to me. If you are making smoothies without bananas, you need to stop immediately. Put a banana in that smoothie. It is so essential for the texture. It is. If you want to make a banana smoothie, make a banana smoothie. It's amazing, just a banana smoothie. If you want to make any other smoothie, the banana sits in the background, but it makes your smoothie's texture so much better. I will never understand people who put ice in their smoothies. It's a lazy game. It's just like, oh, I want to water this down. I want to have ice chips in my smoothie, and I want to have a terrible time. It's awful. If you freeze a banana, it does all of those things, except it doesn't water it down or put ice chips in it. It makes the smoothie cold, and it enhances the texture. As you can tell, I mean, I'm very passionate about the issues of bananas. I love bananas, man, and I will not have banana slander. All right. Now that... S tier.
Hold on.
S tier, bananas.
I will respect your opinion on bananas. I know that my personal opinion on bananas is not super common or popular. It's not that I think banana is a bad fruit. It just does not suit my tastes. Unlike nectarines. Like, I think that a nectarine's a bad fruit. But, like, banana, I can respect it being where it is. Now, I also would like to ask, do we want to get into the story of why banana-flavored things don't taste like bananas? Or
it's because bananas used to not taste like bananas. I mean...
Alright, that's good enough.
Yeah. Old bananas eventually went extinct, but that is... What they used for the flavoring was old bananas.
Yep.
It was a different species. But enough about bananas. I could do a whole episode on just bananas. I could sit here for 45 minutes and give a speech about bananas.
So, did you hear that there's like the potential of a second banana plague? Like, what
did.
would you do if we lost our current bananas and we got replaced with a new banana that tasted different?
I'm keeping these bananas. I have a secret supply of bananas.
You have an underground bunker growing your own bananas.
Yes, it's the secret to my wealth. Anyway, bananas aside. Coconut is the next fruit on this list.
I put coconut in C tier.
C tier?
I mean, like, I don't really like coconut flavor and just, like, eating a... Like, I cannot imagine, like, eating a coconut.
Really?
I just can't imagine it. Like cracking it open and then, like, how do you eat a coconut?
Well,
Like if I were to give you a coconut and say eat this, how would you eat it?
this is an excellent question here because this defines why I love the coconut so much. It's because it's so amazing at in every regard. So the first thing you do with a coconut is obviously you crack it open from the mouth. There are three circles on a coconut, and one of them is called the mouth because it's a little bit wider than the other two, and it's also a little bit weaker. So typically what you will do is you will take either an awl or literally just a sharp rock, and you will break out the mouth, and then what you can do is tilt it back and drink all of the coconut water and milk out of it.
I do love the coconut water and milk. That shit slaps.
I know. It's amazing. Beyond that, you then open up the coconut fully and you begin to eat the meat. Like that's why it's so
How do
great
you
for
eat
me.
coconut meat?
You literally just scrape it out and eat it.
Okay, that's what I was imagining. Like you just take your little hands, you just
Yeah. But see,
I don't know, man.
I also love coconut because of its versatility. You know, you can use coconut in baking, but the other thing beyond it is that you get so much from a coconut. You get the coconut milk, you get the coconut meat, you get the coconut water. Beyond that, you can get coconut oil from a coconut, which you can then use for cooking and frying. You can fry things in coconut oil, like coconut shrimp. Coconut shrimp is amazing.
They had coconut rice.
Coconut rice,
you
yeah.
put-
But see, that's
Yeah,
the thing
they
is, it's
serve
just for me, the taste of coconut I like, but what really puts it up there for me is the versatility, where like you can use a coconut for just about anything.
All right. I will say, so they serve coconut rice at my at the dining hall here, and it is pretty good. I would say that I do like coconut. Uh, but it seems like a lot of effort to eat coconut.
Oh, it is. I make no secret of the fact that the food, the effort
You might,
to get it out is a significant factor. You got to work at that.
so
Um,
I would say that for that reason, we can't really put it in S because we did define that part of the ranking is like how easy it is to eat.
yes, I would put it low A.
Okay.
It is
I'll
not as
respect that.
delicious to me. I like coconut, but it is not nearly as delicious to me as lemons or strawberries are. But it is incredibly versatile, and so I think I can't put it in B tier with cantaloupe.
I see.
Next up is starfruit.
I haven't eaten starfruit.
I don't like starfruit. Starfruit is very bitter.
Ah.
For me, starfruit is basically just like pickles.
Ah. Okay, so then I'm gonna just say I would not like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put starfruit. It's an interesting shape.
It gets points for creativity.
Great for decoration. I'm gonna put it in low E tier, lowest E tier. It's not
Are
good.
we gonna? Are we just gonna leave dragon fruit as the only F tier fruit?
I
Just
think we
to
have
spite
to.
it.
I
just
hate
to spite
dragon,
dragon
fruit
fruit.
so much.
Can we just add another tier, which is dragon fruit
Dragon
tier?
fruit sub F. Yeah, there's not really much to say about starfruit. Starfruit looks really good as like a garnish, and so that's another reason I'm keeping it in E, is because it does look attractive. So it's really nice for like you put it on a plate with something that you will actually enjoy eating, and then you're like, look at that, it's starfruit. That's about all there is to say about it.
Yeah. All right, raspberries.
Raspberries.
I would put raspberries as an S tier fruit.
Oh, really?
Yes. Actually, no. I don't like. Okay, I would have to put it like really high A or really low S, because the thing is that like raspberries are so easy to eat. They're very juicy and they're very like soft. Like they have a really good flavor to effort ratio. Like if you gave me a crate of raspberries, like I could just eat those. But I don't know if I'd put it in S tier because it's not my favorite fruits. It's not one of my favorites. So it's just sort of like
I agree with A. I
I would
agree
put
with
it in A.
everything you've said so far. I think they're spectacularly easy to eat. I think they absolutely win the category there of ease of eating. Flavor's fantastic. The only thing for me is that they don't have that many uses.
Yeah.
They are pretty much you either eat raspberries or you put them in a mixed berry thing.
Yeah.
Mixed berry is all right. It's not my favorite flavor. Um, what is my favorite flavor is razzleberry. Razzleberry is a flavor of Rain Total Body Fuel, not a sponsor. Um,
Although we would accept it.
I would. Rain, if you're listening, please hit us up. It is
Dr.
my
Pepper.
yeah, Dr. Pepper as
Also,
well. Throw
please
in all the
God.
sponsors. That's who we want. I love Rain Energy. It is like I used to drink one every morning. I have since been unable to access them because I am now in college
And poor.
and poor. But Razzleberry is in my mind the best mixed berry execution ever. And for that reason, I do really appreciate the impact that raspberries can have. So they're A tier for me. Fantastic taste. Mixed berries all right most of the time, just because people don't know how to do it as well. But they're solid A tier for me.
Next, grapefruit.
Grapefruit.
I do not like grapefruit, but that is because I was a stupid child and it traumatized me.
Did you squirt it into your own eye?
No. Stupider than that. So I was at after school care. They had laid out like, some snacks for kids. And I saw this giant thing that looked like an orange. And I was like, wow, that's a big orange. I bet it tastes really good. So I go in and I'm peeling off a piece of this grapefruit, thinking that it's just a very large orange. And I take a bite out of it, and it is not at all orange flavored. And you know how like if you accidentally if you have like Coke or something in your cup, but then you accidentally drink somebody else's thing, and they have like Sprite or something, it's just like the worst tasting thing because you're anticipating it.
Yeah.
Or you're anticipating the wrong thing.
Oh no, absolutely.
Same deal with that. So it's just like I can't eat grapefruit because it tastes like that disappointment and that confusion of that day.
It tastes like disappointment. I am
yeah.
not the hugest fan of grapefruit. Grapefruit juice is cool. And it's sour, which I like. It's also bitter, which I don't mind. Again, I eat lemon peels, so I don't mind a bit of bitterness, but it's just not that great. I'm thinking high D tier
I would put it. I'd be cool with that.
over nectarines.
I would eat a grapefruit before I eat a nectarine again.
Oh,
Honeydew?
honeydew. I don't like
That's
honeydew
just going
melon.
straight to eat here.
Yeah, good.
It's just a bad melon.
Same thing with starfruit, except it doesn't
It's a
even
cool
have
color.
the good presentation.
It's a cool color, but it is so much worse than cantaloupe. And the fact that melons are always mixed together and cantaloupe is just superior.
Yes.
To
That is the worst. When they put cantaloupe and honeydew together, I'm like, what are you expecting? Honeydew to me is the opposite of a plum.
Mm-hmm.
Where a honeydew represents everything that I hate in a fruit experience. And also, there is a bit of the grapefruit exchange where, you're expecting, like I see a melon and I'm like, yes, cantaloupe. And then it's not. And then I'm really sad because I have to eat honeydew, which is gross. Blueberries.
S tier.
S tier. Agreed. Goes very well in smoothies. I could eat. My mom likes to tell this story. I ate a full pound of blueberries as an 8-year-old child.
The story that I have from my childhood in blueberries is that whenever my mom would go to the commissary to buy fruit, she would have to buy 2 boxes of blueberries because one box would just be for me to eat while she's walking through the store, and the other would be to actually take home. Because I loved blueberries and I ate them so much that like if she didn't buy 2, that by the time we'd get to the exit, they'd all be gone.
Yeah.
Because blueberries are just such a good fruit. They slap.
I agree. We should get together sometime and just eat a bunch of blueberries.
We should eat a pound of blueberries each.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it honestly wouldn't take that long.
We're large guys now.
We're large guys now. Blueberries are so freaking delicious. Um, the
I will
only
say,
potential downside to them is that if your blender isn't great, which I discovered the hard way, if your blender isn't great and you try to put them into a smoothie, you'll get like full blueberry skins,
Mhm.
which is a bit unappetizing, but you can just fish them out or just eat them. They're blueberry skins.
I will say that blueberries, the only downside that I have on blueberries is that there is a very particular like quality they have to be good. Because like I do not like overly mushy or overly uh like tight. I don't know what to call it. Like overly
Firm.
firm. Yeah,
I
that one.
I really like the very firm, almost purple sour ones.
See, I don't like them because they're not consistent enough. Like if I wanted to eat, like I don't imagine blueberries as having a sour flavor. And so having that one blueberry that's sour among all of the sweet ones kind of just throws off the whole experience for me.
The other thing that I learned early on, and the reason I probably do like blueberries, is that I think people who don't like blueberries go in and eat blueberries like one at a time. As a young child, again, as an 8-year-old, I ate a full pound of blueberries, and the proper way to eat blueberries, in my mind, is by the fistful. So you just get your grubby hands in there and get like 20 of them, and you just shove them in your mouth. Oh, that is because in my mind, it's like it's a sample size. So
Simple random sampling.
exactly. So you get the mushy ones, you get the very sour ones, and you get all the ones in between, and it sort of just averages out into what I would describe the flavor of blueberries as, which is some average of all of those qualities. And that's my spiel on blueberries. Absolutely an S tier fruit. I put them in the S tier below bananas just because bananas are so universal. You can put a banana in, you can and should put a banana in every single smoothie that you make. Blueberries, little bit odd if you're going to put them in certain smoothies.
That's fair. All right, next fruit, kiwis. I like kiwi flavored things, but I don't eat kiwis very often. I'd put them in probably a B tier, below cantaloupe.
I'm going to bump them up to the bottom of A tier.
Okay. I think kiwis have a nice sweet flavor.
I really like the
A little
texture
tart.
of them
Mm-hmm.
as well. They're again similar to the blueberries. My mom will cut up like a whole like 8 kiwis and put them on a plate on the table while she's making dinner, and they will be gone in like half an hour. It's just me and my brothers will just walk by, pick up 8 slices of kiwi, and just eat them, and then just keep doing that as we're moving around the house, and so they'll just disappear. Um, Another thing is that I don't find the seeds offensive. As opposed to like dragon fruit, the seeds are awful. Kiwi, I don't mind them at all. And the texture of kiwis is such that they kind of blend in
Yeah.
and don't bother me as much. The other thing is that apparently kiwis like make you sleep better,
Interesting. I,
which
I don't think I've heard that.
I didn't know until recently, but they've got melatonin in them apparently.
Hmm.
And so if you eat like 1 kiwi before bed, like an hour before bed, it's supposed to help you sleep better. It is what it is. I really like them, and I don't know if they make me sleep better, but they're good.
Limes.
Limes.
I would put limes at equal level to lemons.
Ah,
Actually, personally, I like limes a little bit better than lemons.
I'm gonna put limes below lemons for me, just because I
That's
don't
fine.
enjoy. I eat them the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't enjoy limes as much. I love limes. I love like cherry limeade and all that delicious
Cherry
nonsense.
limeade's just very good.
Another thing that is the lime really shines in the cocktail department. Obviously with margaritas, you've got lime presence there, and there are just a lot of cocktails that involve the use of limes, and so they're very useful in that category for me. But also they're just again, it's citrus, it's sour, It's a very pleasant flavor and texture, and they just like key lime pie as well. You get in the
Oh, I
baking
love key lime
category.
pie. My mom makes some fire key lime pie.
Yeah, of course.
But let's continue.
Watermelon.
Yes, what about it?
Watermelon is the next fruit on this list. Um,
Yes.
I am not the hugest fan of watermelon. I just
Uh,
it's so hyped up for the summer season. Like everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's an integral part of summer." And it's like I would rather have any other fruit.
all right. I mean, my take on this is I like watermelon, but it has to be a very particular kind of watermelon because I feel like it's one of the most volatile fruits in terms of quality because like really good watermelon is easily like top of A tier for me. It's like nice and juicy. It's not like got a lot of texture to it. You said earlier that that like for you plums are very Dr. Seuss like because of like fruit experience. Like that's watermelon for me. Um in terms of like when it's really good. The problem is that like finding those watermelons is really hard. And unlike blueberries where like you can get like one or two bad ones, but then like they all average out when you're eating them. Like if you get a bad watermelon, you have this giant ass fruit and it all just you have to get through the whole thing. So like I'd put a bad watermelon in like E tier, but like a good watermelon at A. So I'd average it out to like a C overall for me.
I'm gonna go also with C. I mean, you make an incredibly compelling argument because you know a watermelon is a commitment. You buy a watermelon, that's a lot of fruit right there. So you better like that watermelon in particular. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with C tier. For me, this is low C tier. This is where we're scraping the bottom of C tier because it's so flippin' useless, man. Like it's a volatile fruit like you've mentioned, but for my part, it also is worthless. Like you can't put a watermelon in anything. It's just a fruit for eating. It's not
But
smoothie fodder. It's not anything. And the problem is it's not even good at being just an eating fruit.
I think that's fair. However, you can't put watermelon into anything, but you can put things into watermelon. This summer, I'd like to try putting like Sprite or something into a watermelon, and just like because like apparently it'll absorb whatever liquid you put in it and like add to the flavor, and I think that'd be pretty interesting. Most people do it with vodka, but since we're not partaking of that, I think Sprite would be an interesting alternative. Also, it might not work because it's like carbonated and acidic, and maybe that wouldn't vibe with the fruit. I don't know how that chemistry works, but I think that'd be something cool to try.
I think it would be cool to try. I think that the carbonation would get ruined by the blitzing of the fruit because the generally the two ways that people do that are you either put the said liquid in the watermelon and then slice the watermelon, or you put the liquid in and then you blend up the watermelons so that you have like a weird. It's kind of like a slushy, but like it's watermelon. Like it's like a you can't really juice a watermelon. I would categorize it as slush. So you have like watermelon slush that is just sort of this goopy.
Suspended in other liquid.
Exactly. Um, but I think that's where the carbonation would get destroyed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
I'm not a huge fan of like flat soda, but
oh, me neither. But we are solidly in agreement. Watermelon riding the bottom of C tier.
yeah, that's fine. Next, let's talk about cherries because I'm a huge fan of like cherry flavored things. Well, I'm a huge fan of like cherry flavored things as a secondary flavor. Like cherry limeade's really good. I can't think of another good idea, but like grenadine is like a
Cherry Seven Up,
cherry
perchance.
cherry 7 Up. That's a thing.
Yes.
I've never seen that before.
I probably drink cherry 7 Up more than I drink normal 7 Up.
That's
It's
fair.
basically just Sprite cherry or cherry Sprite, but it's 7 Up. That's the difference.
Okay, so cherries I think have a really good flavor, and I'd like to place them pretty high up. But the thing is that like it's a supporting cast kind of flavor. It's not like the main thing. And also like in terms of like ease of eating, like cherries, you got either like you throw a cherry in your mouth and then you got to spit out the seed and like eat around it, which is stressful for me because don't I don't enjoy that sensation of like you're having something soft and chewy and then you get a crunch. That's not pleasant for me. So you can't really do that. And if you want to like sit there and like pit all of these cherries, it just takes a while. It's a lot of hassle. So, very similar for me to like strawberries, but like I would eat like a regular strawberry as like a main flavor, if that makes sense. So like I'd put cherries probably in like A tier, but like below some of the other fruits.
I I'm probably in agreement there. They might be higher than some other things for me, but I really enjoy cherry flavored things as well. And I'm also a big fan. I don't really eat cherries like by themselves, but when you get like I really like cherry ice cream when you get like a big old chunk, like half a cherry. Like
Yeah.
that to me is really good. So I like those. But like going off of eating them, in my mind, they're very difficult to eat because the pit is where it is. Because with a strawberry, you can just take a big bite and then throw away the top. Um, for me, that's why blueberries hit S tier so well, is because they you can sit down and just mindlessly shovel blueberries into your mouth and be completely fine. Worst case scenario, you might get one that's like squishy. But worst case scenario with eating a cherry and just mindlessly eating them, you choke to death on the pit.
Yeah.
So that's representing a large dip in quality for me there.
Okay, so here's a question. What's your opinion on maraschino cherries?
I I consider maraschino cherries to be a completely separate like animal because they really are. They're basically just red dye number 40 that happens to be packaged in a cherry form.
Okay. I I I can see that.
Well, have you seen the process of making maraschino cherries?
No, I have not.
So, maraschino
I make it.
cherries,
Listen,
oh yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
The way that they make them is they take normal cherries, they bleach them white and then leave them in a vat with red dye number 40 and the cherry liquid that gradually infuses into them and makes them maraschino cherries.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I will point out that I make it a point of. I don't know what that's a point of. I make it a point to not look up how my food is made because generally I don't like to think about it.
Oh yeah, you don't like to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah. No, I don't. Personally, I like to pretend that it all just, sort of appears, like in Minecraft.
Yeah,
That was a bad analogy, but we're gonna move on from that.
like in Minecraft, it just appears. I don't know what version of Minecraft you're playing. Ah,
Creative mode.
okay. Pineapples. Pineapples are next.
I would put pineapple pretty high up. Personally, I love pineapple, but I cannot eat. Like, I could not sit down and like eat a whole pineapple because I love the acidity of it and the fact that pineapple like tries to eat you back. I respect it. I respect the attempt. But also because of that, it's just like after a little bit, it doesn't taste like anything. My mouth just gets really uh sore. And also eating pineapple is kind of a mixed bag for me because like good pineapple kind of like watermelon, like when you bite it, it kind of dissolves. But like bad pineapple, it's like super tough and you have to sit there and chew it for a while. And the super tough pineapple also has like similar to like oranges with the pith, like it'll get stuck in your teeth and that's just a pain.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I agree with a lot of your arguments. Eating a whole pineapple, I mean, I could do it, but it wouldn't be a pleasant experience. For me, like the ideal thing with pineapple is like you got a bowl of pineapple sitting out on your table, and then
Mhm.
like every time you walk by, you grab a piece of pineapple and eat it.
Yes,
So that way
I
it's like
agree with that.
spaced out and you never get that weird sort of like chalky feeling in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a big fan of all things pineapple flavored. Um,
Yes.
in fact, white gummy bears are the only gummy bears I will eat. Uh,
Interesting.
which works out really well because a lot of people hate white gummy bears. I really like them, so I'll just
What about the
stand
yellow
by
starbursts?
the yellow starbursts.
Yeah, those are pineapple flavored.
They're lemon flavored, in fact.
Oh, well, I'm a fool.
I, I was gonna say there, like, what starbursts are you eating? Hane apparently lives in a
Uh,
different world from me.
no, no,
He's
no.
alternate universe Hane here today, trying to disguise himself, and
No,
he accidentally revealed it through the
ex-
fact that food rains from the sky in Minecraft, and yellow starbursts are pineapple flavored in his world.
no, no, no. Okay. I think the reason I got confused is because Starburst, like you know how Skittles have the different like mixes, like
Like
Starburst
tropical.
have it as well. Yeah, like the tropical Starburst is like a light blue color. I think that one has pineapple in it, but I'm also not 100% anymore, and now I just kind of feel like an idiot.
Well, yeah. Sorry, but I will say, why am I totally blanking on the flavors of Starburst right now? We got what? Strawberry, lemon, um,
Cherry,
what berry?
orange,
What
said
berry?
strawberry,
Strawberry. I already said strawberry. Strawberry, lemon, orange, and then
cherry.
red. Red is cherry.
Yeah.
Which is, we've got all of those except orange at A tier. So, props to strawberries or props to Starburst for that one. But anyway, back to the fruit at hand. Pineapple. Pineapple flavored things, not including the yellow Starburst, are very very delicious. As I mentioned, white gummy bears, and there are up in when I get candy from a very specific place in New Jersey, they have these Lego brick hard candies,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've seen those.
and the white ones are pineapple flavored, and I really really like those. Like those, I could eat those all day. And you can build with them. You could build a pineapple out of pineapple flavored
Bricks.
bricks. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Just because we're here, and I have two controversial takes on pineapple. First, uh, actually prefer uh, Monster Ultra Gold to regular pineapple juice. And Ultra Gold is supposed to be pineapple flavored, but it's a little bit off. It's not quite pineapple, but it's noticeable that that's what it's supposed to be. And I think it's actually better and it's off state. Um, Griffin disagrees with me on that.
I do.
The second,
It's
the
like
second,
claiming that Sunny D is your favorite orange juice, man. You
okay,
can't do
I'm
it.
okay. I'm not saying that it's my favorite pineapple juice, but I'm saying it is the best Monster flavor, and I prefer it
Oh my
to
god,
like.
really? Okay. We'll argue
Okay,
about monster flavors on another day. So,
yeah,
save
we can
that.
talk about. We can save that for the Megnog episode.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, the other controversial take, which is far more controversial, I would say. I like pineapple on pizza.
Boo. I thought you were going to say that you eat the stem. Um
Oh no, absolutely
I
not.
I was like I
Dude, I
was
don't eat the stem of strawberries.
I was struggling for what a controversial take on a pineapple would be, other than like I bite into it like an apple, just right through the skin. I hate having a roof of my mouth and just shred through it. I do not tolerate pineapple on pizza, which is why, for me, biting through the skin of it came to mind as a controversial take first, because pineapple does not belong on pizza. Um,
I will put it on pizza till the day I die.
oh, then don't expect to live very long. Anyway, it boils down to about from our various discussions here, I would say that pineapple's gonna place a little bit below very easy to eat fruits, like strawberries. So maybe B tier, maybe a high B tier.
B tier. High B tier. All right. You pick the next one.
Next fruit, next fruit. Grapes. Let's go with grapes.
All right. We are just gonna generalize. We're just gonna go through all three different flavors of grape right now. I think that like green grapes, low B tier, and every other kind of grape is C tier. Just like I think grapes are like a pretty solid fruit. Like I'll always eat them. They're always a good pick in terms of like if you want to have like a party or something, you can put out grapes and just about anybody will eat them. But I will never take them over alternative fruits.
I agree. Very dependable fruit. Very easy to eat. Uh, I am not a green grape fan. My favorite grapes are red grapes. So I would do just the opposite of you. I would put red grapes in B tier and all other grapes in C tier.
Okay. And here's the thing. I like green grapes slightly better because like when I've gotten like obviously I eat seedless grapes because it's just more convenient. But like when I get red seedless grapes, usually have more trouble with getting them to not be like to not have seeds in them. But also they sort of leave a chalky feeling in my mouth after I eat them for a while. And so that's just not like pleasant for me. So I'd prefer green over that.
I've had that with green grapes too. I just
It
like
might
the
just be
flavor better.
that's fair. I haven't had cotton candy grapes, so anybody who wants to come out saying that like, oh, cotton candy grapes are like S tier, I have no opinion for you on that. But also, if you have to make your fruit taste like literal sugar, maybe it's not a good fruit to begin with.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so that's grapes out of the way. Next up, let's do a cousin of the grape. The kumquat.
Oh,
Kumquats are like if tangerines and grapes crossbred. Actually, that might be how they came into existence. I know very little about kumquats, and I've only actually eaten them like twice.
I'm gonna be real. I forgot that a kumquat was a thing, and I was looking at that picture. I just thought it was like very tiny oranges.
Ah, no, that is indeed the kumquat. Which is, they're basically just very tiny oranges. I struggle with the fact that you eat the skin on them because everything. I don't know why. I eat lemons with the rind, but oranges.
I was gonna point that out. If you're
I
about to
eat oranges with the
say that you
rind
don't
too.
like,
I'm just gonna retract that
like,
statement. It just seems weird to me because it's more of a skin than a rind. Like, it's in the exact wrong middle ground for me.
do you hold on? I didn't ask this earlier. Do you eat the watermelon rind?
No, because watermelon
Okay,
rinds are
okay,
dumb.
good. Okay, good. I just wanted to verify that fact.
Yeah, that would be a bit far for me. Um, but no, I
Dude,
just kumquats like they've got a decent flavor to them. They're just like very sour, which I like, but they're just like eat a tangerine. Like it's
get a
not
Sunny
that
D.
hard. Yeah, just go drink Sunny D if you really really want kumquats. Just go drink a Sunny D instead, and you'll be fine. I'm gonna slot these again just in the basically useless fruit category, which is D tier.
All right, fair.
Useless fruit, but interesting for eating. Along with pomegranate and grapefruit.
Hmm. Well, we've already talked about grapefruit. Let's talk about pomegranates then. That's a nice segue. Um, Pomegranates, I think that they taste all right. They're like the flavor's pretty good. But the fact that you only eat the seeds and so you have to like pop them out, do you really want to sit there and just like scoop out seeds from a pomegranate? Like no.
No.
And I'm sure you can buy like pre like pomegranate seeds by themselves, but that's got to be expensive.
Yeah, and just
Like
not
cashews are very expensive.
yeah. Just not a
And
good time either. Like if you're buying pre-seeded pomegranates, like just go buy something else. Or buy pomegranate juice. I think pomegranate juice is probably cheaper than just a bunch of seeds. But like if you're just
Yeah.
looking for the flavor of pomegranates, buy pomegranate.
I mean, flavor's pretty good. Like, is it good enough that I would want to spend an entirety in the underworld? No.
Well, it's only 6 months out of the year.
Okay. But like that was before they had, the divorce hearing. Any
Yeah. So we're putting plus the fact that they were in the underworld kind of suggests something about pomegranates, doesn't it? So you gotta pick all those out. It's not even worth it. That's an eternity of torture. Is the only food you're allowed to eat is pomegranates. So you have to pick all the seeds out one by one.
Where are we placing this?
I'm gonna go with the same thing as kumquats, the good tasting, basically useless fruit. So D tier.
Okay. That's fair. All right. I'm gonna talk about a fruit that I believe belongs in E tier, but I think you're gonna disagree with me on this. Um, Pears. I
Yeah.
hate pears,
Yeah. Okay.
and I expressed this earlier. Um, I think that pears are just a bastardized apple, and this hatred of pears comes from the fact that they don't like their flavor is so lacking and undefined to me, and the texture is just in every way inferior. There's just more grittiness to a pear than there is to an apple. And like with apples, you can say like, oh, you have a bad apple, it might just be a bad variety. It might just be like a red delicious instead of a honey crisp. But like pears, I don't know about that. Like I have never seen somebody say like, oh, you get this variety of pear? Nah. It's just like, here's a pear. It's bad. Enjoy.
I
And
I will disagree with you there because there are good and bad varieties of pears.
I've never heard of them. So, if you can find me a good pear, maybe I'll change my mind, but I have never had a good experience with pears. And like the only time I have found pears acceptable to eat is like when they're mixed in like the mixed fruit cups you get from like Dole and stuff.
Yes, I am familiar.
Like that's the only time that I will like accept a pear's existence in my food. Otherwise, I'm just not going to eat it, you know?
Yeah.
Also,
Bartlett pears are the good ones.
all right. Get me a good pear. Maybe I'll
I
change my
will.
mind.
I will have you try them. I will say you're absolutely correct in the grittiness. There is an amount of grittiness to a pear, but in a good pear and a properly ripe pear, like it's excusable just because it they're a very strange texture. Cause I usually eat sliced pears. I peel and slice the pear before eating it. It's just very it's a polarizing texture. It's very slimy kind of and gritty, but it's just like the flavor for me is really good and so I can
Mm.
ignore the texture or I can just dismiss it as oh, this is the texture of pears.
Yeah, you're really selling me on that. That sounds real appetizing.
I mean, it's
Also,
not going to.
also, in terms of like usefulness and other like food endeavors, I can't think like maybe you can make like a pear pie, but I don't
I
I don't
don't
think there's any good uses for a pear in terms of like making food. The only food that I've had that had pear in it was pear salad, which is a slice of pear, a dollop of like mayonnaise, s- cheddar cheese sprinkled on top, and then half a maraschino cherry. It's
that
disgusting.
yeah, that's vile. I will say, yep, not very useful. You want to put them in E tier? I will compromise for the top of D tier. I
All
really
right.
like them just for eating, but I have a base level understanding of the fact that they are a polarizing fruit and they're not useful, so you either really like them or really don't. So they exist in enjoy them if you will, but otherwise they're gonna suck for you.
Okay.
There also
Glad
aren't
we
really
came to
any
this
pear
compromise.
flavored things.
Yeah, because pear's a stupid flavor.
Okay. Mangoes.
All right. Mangoes. Would you like to state any opinions first?
Kind of just tastes like a pine tree to me. Um, I don't mind. My whole say on mangoes is like I don't care. You put mango in a smoothie, like I'm not gonna turn my nose up at it. It's mango. It's fine smoothie flavor. Um, but outside of like a tropical mix of fruits, where you got mango and you got pineapple, outside of that, like I'm never gonna just eat mango slices.
That's fair. I personally, like I said that grapefruit tasted like disappointment when I was a child. Mangoes tasted like disappointment as an adult because I had mango for the first time last summer, and it's like visually it looks like it'd be a really good fruit because it's got a nice vibrant color to it, like not just the skin but also the actual flesh itself, and it was very juicy looking, like it had the juice coming off of it and dripping. So it's just like, oh, this is going to be very sweet, it's going to taste great, and it'll have that like good flesh texture where it'll just sort of like dissolve in your mouth while you're eating it. And that's just not the case. Like maybe I just had bad mango that first time, but like I ate it and it felt like what was the word that you used to describe the golden apples? It's like the carpenter foam or something. Like it's
Oh,
the green
floral
foam.
foam. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Floral
that. Like
arrangement foam.
yeah, that's like the texture that a mango has to me, and it just wasn't super strong flavor. And so it's just like disappointing as a
Yeah.
fruit.
I agree. Interesting flavor, fine in smoothies. Not really a huge fan. I'd put it low D tier.
I put it in low D tier because, and like, I will say, like, I'm not gonna eat a mango. I'm probably not gonna eat a mango again. But like mango flavored like candy, or like if you throw like mango flavored stuff into, like as you said, a smoothie or something, that's fine with me. I'll take that. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of use to it.
All right. Cranberries. Mostly useful for their juice is what I'll say. I have eaten a cranberry on two occasions in my life. I really like cranberry juice.
I
Uh,
love cranberry juice.
yeah, not even in a juice cocktail either. Like they got like white cran peach or like cran raspberry. I just like to drink just 100% cranberry juice that just makes it's just so incredibly sour.
Yes, I agree with you on that. And okay, so here's the thing. When I was a kid, for whatever reason, I just decided that I didn't like apple juice one day. So my parents just started buying like cran grape juice, which, by the way, has way too much sugar in it for like a beverage to be given to a child all the time. Um, so they're just like, all right, we're just gonna start giving you 100% juice, like cranberry juice, and that's just my childhood beverage. I love it. It's great. The sour, that might be why I love sour stuff so much now. I don't
It's
know.
it's also just such a good sour, you know?
Yeah, it's got a nice like sting to it, but it's not like painful. And it's not like after you drink cranberry juice, you don't feel like your mouth has been melting off like you do with pineapple juice.
Yeah.
You know? I'm a huge fan of cranberries. I would put them in like top of A, like not top of A, but I put them like high in A tier.
I think because their only utilization is in juice, I'm gonna put them in B tier.
All right.
But I think that very top of B tier because I like the juice so much.
Yeah, that's fair. And like in terms of the actual fruit itself, I haven't eaten like an actual cranberry very often, but I the few times that I have, I've really enjoyed them. All
Yeah.
right. I think we are on to our final fruit and my personal favorite, the peach.
Mm.
I love peaches, and I said earlier that like the ease of consumption is very important to me. Peaches kind of fail in that regard because unlike Griffin, I like to skin my peaches, and you do have to cut them up to get the pit out the middle.
I don't
However,
understand you.
my family's always skinned their peaches, and that's just how it is, all right? I
It
don't know why you don't
it
skin
defeats
yours.
the purpose, man. You're supposed
What
to
does it
just
what No,
The
you don't
vision
eat
that
a
I
peach like
have
an
of
apple.
peaches, I do eat a peach like an apple because you eat around the pit. Because it's not a cherry, you can eat around the pit. So you don't even need to cut them up. They're so easy to eat. Like, I'd be strolling through the pear orchard in my overalls. I'll just
Yeah,
grab
the
a peach
pear
off a
orchard.
tree. Peach orchard. Are peaches in an orchard? Is there a different term for that? I
I
don't know.
think it's a peach tree.
I'd be on the farms with my peaches, and I'll just be strolling along in overalls, grab a peach off the tree, and just sit down under a tree and take a big old bite out of the juicy peach. Like that. That to me is the image that peaches conjure, and I
Okay,
don't
but the
think you
fact
get
that
that when you slice them up.
okay, but you know the other thing that I don't get when I slice them up, the fuzz. The fact that Peach's skin has hair very much detracts from its experience for me. Like if I like I'm not going to eat a peach if I can't skin it first. So, I'm sorry that I'm contradicting your vision, but uh, uh I cut up my peaches.
Boo.
But the thing is that also I love the like I have just said that I have to go and put prep work into eating peaches. But the thing is like a good Southern Georgia peach is so juicy and has such a good texture to it that like I am willing to put in that extra work. It is so damn good. And in terms of like other uses, like listen, peach cobbler is one of my favorite foods. It is like one of the best desserts, if not the best.
I think I think you're a fool for not eating peaches normally. But
I think okay, listen, if you were listening to this and you have the ability to comment, I want you to tell me if you peel your peach or not because I think that I'm eating it the normal way.
I think
Griffin thinks he's eating it the normal way.
I very clearly think I'm eating it the normal way. I have seen other people eat it this way. It on movies and television, people eat peaches the way I do. I think you're saw trap. Like there's a guy who's like sawing his arm off in the next room, and Haynes' saw trap is just he's been poisoned and the antidote is in a peach, but his hands are tied behind his back, so he has to eat the skin. That's your saw trap right there. It's oh no, I have to eat a little bit of skin and it's got a fuzzy texture to it.
You're such an arse.
For
God.
I mean for me also the fuzziness gives it like a little bit of like
Character?
mystery. Yeah, exactly. It's like, "Oh, I shouldn't be eating this." It's
The
the
forbidden
forbidden
fruit.
fruit. Exactly. It's just like it's just distanced enough from every other fruit where you don't eat the fuzzy skin of another fruit. Like you don't eat coconut husk or kiwi skin. Like but it's just like the I feel like eating a peach should grant me like eldritch knowledge because of its fuzzy exterior.
Is it because of James and the Giant Peach?
No, I hate that book and it's creepy and I hate every bit of it. Um, but I still like Peach. I think it's very clear here that you're gonna put this in S tier. I will
I
allow
would put it
that
in S
since you
tier.
allowed me my bananas in S
Yes.
tier.
And yes.
I don't think you're as
Beautiful.
passionate
All right.
about peaches as I am about bananas,
I think you're correct.
but
I think
it's
absolutely
still
correct.
S tier.
I don't know if anybody could be as passionate about bananas or any fruit as you are about bananas.
Hey man, they are a miracle fruit.
Before we wrap up this episode, let us go through and recap the tier list.
In S tier, we have bananas, peaches, and blueberries.
And in A tier, we have strawberries, lemons, limes, raspberries, coconuts, green apples, kiwi, and cherries.
In B tier, we have cranberries, pineapple, red apples, cantaloupe, and grapes either red for me or green for Hane.
And then in C tier, we've got the rest of the grapes, watermelon, figs, plums, clementines, and oranges, tangerines as well, and then
All of them oranges.
yeah, blackberries, last on the C tier.
No, pears also. D tier, we got mangoes, kumquats, grapefruit, peaches and no, those aren't peaches. I'm a fool. Those are nectarines.
Yes, the
And
inferior
the
bastardized
inferior bastardized version
version
of a
of peach.
peach. And pomegranate.
And then in E tier, we have stink fruit, nature's candy, the prune, golden apples, starfruit, and honeydew. And in F tier, all by itself, we have dragon fruit,
It might as well just be called dragon fruit tier,
fruit tier.
because it's bad. Dragon fruit sucks. So if you take
Yeah.
anything away from this episode, the two takeaways here are for I'll give it three takeaways. The three takeaways are absolute peak of caveman fruit is blueberries. Just absolutely shovel the tiny blueberries into your mouth. Uh, Never eat a dragon fruit, not even to try it. Just it's a waste of money. Any amount. If somebody
Even
offers
if
to
it's
give
free.
you a slice of dragon fruit for a nickel, don't do it. That's how bad it is. And then the final takeaway is, of course, that bananas are the best fruit of all time, and anyone who says otherwise is an idiot that you should not be friends with.
Oh, and here you are, being friends with me.
Okay. Do you like peaches better than apple or frick?
Bananas?
Do you like peaches better than you like bananas?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
As we
We're no longer
established.
friends. Podcast over.
And with that dramatic exit, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for listening to the ramblings of these two madmen. We'll have new episodes out roughly every week, uploaded Wednesday at noon. Please leave a comment if there's something you'd like to hear us discuss, or if you have any general commentary.